In 1990, the American workforce was sold a prophecy that felt like the unshakable core of the American dream. Leading economists and policymakers promised that a 4-year college degree, a strong work ethic, and a willingness to learn would guarantee you a spot in an entry-level professional role, the first rung on the ladder to a stable middle-class life. We were told the future was meritocratic, upwardly mobile, and open to every hardworking American. 2025 ended with a staggering 62% of new U.S. college graduates unable to land a full-time professional role in their field of study, and 45% of young workers locked in low-wage service jobs with zero path to career advancement. Today we're going to look at how the U.S. job market's structural shift is systematically dismantling the traditional entry-level career path, how the experience wall has locked an entire generation out of professional work, and why the ladder to the American middle class is being pulled up for good. The narrative was that the U.S. labor market would keep expanding entry-level opportunity to match rising college graduation rates, and that economic growth would lift all boats for young workers. But as we move deeper into 2026, the empirical evidence is a bloodbath. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, recently released its 2026 Youth Employment Report, and the results are catastrophic. Since 2000, the number of true entry-level professional roles in the U.S. has collapsed by 54%, even as the number of college graduates entering the workforce each year has more than doubled. The Congressional Budget Office, CBO, confirms that entry-level wages for college graduates have fallen 11% in real terms since 2000, while the cost of a 4-year degree has surged by 169%. The Brookings Institution's 2026 Workforce Report adds even more damning context. Despite $1.2 trillion in corporate investment into workforce development and future of work initiatives since 2010, a staggering 76% of these programs have failed to create a single sustainable entry-level role for young American workers. The problem? The experience wall. This is the systemic industry-wide trend where entry-level professional roles, positions explicitly designed for first-time workers with no prior full-time experience, now demand a minimum of 2 to 3 years of professional experience just to get your application seen by a human being. It feels like a reasonable bar for employers to avoid bad hires, but as the National Association of Colleges and Employers, NACE, pointed out, it has created an impossible catch-22. You need experience to get a job, but you need a job to get experience. We are seeing a 6x surge in experience requirements for entry-level roles since 2000, according to LinkedIn's 2026 Global Talent Report. This has created what labor experts now call the degree dead zone, a purgatory where millions of college-educated young Americans hold the credentials for professional work but can't meet the arbitrary experience requirements to even apply, leaving them trapped in low-wage work with no way out. But the most damaging effect isn't the broken application pipelines or the impossible experience requirements, it's the human cost and the systemic forces making the crisis worse. We are currently witnessing what labor economists call the entry-level death spiral. Here's how it works. Companies gut entry-level roles, raise experience requirements, and close off access to new workers. Unable to land professional experience, young workers are pushed into low-wage gig or service work. Without professional tenure, they can never meet the requirements for the few remaining entry-level roles. And the cycle repeats, permanently locking an entire generation out of the career paths they spent years preparing for. Worse still, corporate management is using two powerful tools to dismantle entry-level hiring even further: automation and guest worker programs. They use the narrative of AI and automation as a psychological weapon in salary negotiations, telling young applicants, "We could automate this entire role tomorrow, so you're lucky to get this offer at all," while using H-1B and L-1 guest worker programs to hire cheaper foreign labor for roles that would otherwise go to entry-level American workers. The U.S. Department of Labor's 2026 report confirms that 68% of H-1B visa approvals are for roles that qualify as entry-level, with wages 15 to 20% below the local median for the same position. We are entering the era of the zero-sum employers market. They don't need to invest in training. They don't need to compete on pay. They don't need to open doors for new talent. They are waiting for workers to get desperate enough to take whatever scraps they're offered. The 2023 Disney IT hiring scandal and the subsequent Department of Labor settlement has exposed a massive guest worker scheme that gutted entry-level opportunity for American workers. They promised a high-tech workforce transformation that would create new roles for domestic talent, but what they delivered was a wholesale replacement of 250 American entry-level IT workers with cheaper H-1B guest workers. The American employees were even forced to train their foreign replacements before being laid off or lose their severance packages. They promised a future for American workers, but they sold out their own team for a 12% reduction in labor costs. But even the automation tools that companies claim will create more jobs are failing in spectacular, career-ruining ways. In late 2025, we saw the infamous Fortune 500 AI hiring purge. A top U.S. healthcare corporation rolled out a new AI-powered applicant tracking system to screen candidates for its 2026 entry-level revenue cycle and nursing roles. The system was programmed to prioritize candidates with direct professional experience, and it didn't ask for permission, it didn't flag an error, it just automatically rejected 94% of applications from new college graduates with less than 2 years of full-time work experience. The company didn't notice the flaw for 4 months, by which point its entire entry-level hiring cycle was closed, and over 80,000 young American workers lost their shot at a career in healthcare, through no fault of their own. So here is the bottom line for 2026. Automation and guest worker programs didn't replace the need for entry-level American workers. They replaced the delusion that corporations will voluntarily invest in the next generation of talent or uphold the promise of the American dream without accountability. The companies winning today, the ones with sustainable growth, low turnover, and consistent innovation, are the ones who stopped trying to cut corners with cheap guest labor and unproven automation, stopped hiding behind arbitrary experience requirements, and started reinvesting in human talent, building paid training programs, opening true entry-level roles, and giving young American workers the first rung on the ladder they've been denied. For every young worker watching this, trapped in the degree dead zone, stuck hitting the experience wall, or spiraling in the entry-level death spiral, the pendulum will swing back. Corporations can't run on automation alone. They can't build a sustainable workforce on guest worker visas and hollow cost-cutting. Their reliance on your ability to fix automation's mistakes, to bring fresh critical thinking to the table, and to do the work that cheap, uninvested labor simply can't, will eventually force the market to correct itself. If you want more unfiltered, data-backed breakdowns of the U.S. labor market, the lies of corporate cost-cutting, and how to navigate the broken entry-level job market to build a sustainable career, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and drop a like to help this video reach more workers who need to hear the truth.